Hello, everybody. Welcome to, I am just like behind the curveball running my mouth. I didn't even have the subtitle up.
Well, hey,
Look,
you got it.
welcome to another episode of Bariatric Foodie Live. Wait a minute, I'm gonna try something new, Shannon. And as
Okay.
opposed to, wait a minute, hold out. Let me do the wonders of technology. You know what we need is we need a producer. Like if I ever start like, strike
Hmm.
it rich, we're getting a producer. Okay. So anyway,
Right.
so wait a minute, hold on, I'm gonna try something new. For those of you who don't know me, I am Nikki and this is Shannon. Now we have our little subtitles.
Nice.
Hi.
Hi.
And we are your venerable I don't know if that's the right word. We're your hosts, Dagnabbit. And this let's see. How are you, Shannon? While I
I'm
get
good.
myself
I'm
undiscombobulated.
tired
Why are you
because
tired?
we had to replant our garden. Some sort of animal got in and ate all the leaves off of everything in my entire garden. So we pulled all that stuff out and got all new stuff, all new plants, and so we had to redo all that. And then we put net over the top and all that stuff. So I had a long day. But
My garden is waterlogged, and
also, why like, I don't normally wear stuff on my head, but I didn't get like a real good chance to do my hair after I was, so it's
girl,
the
believe me,
cover,
I know that struggle.
right?
I
No.
know. You know that I know. Okay, so we got a couple pieces of business before we jump into the subject matter of the night. First of all, hold on. I'm also not prepared in another way. Hold on, I'm
Okay.
backing away. I'm backing away. I'm reaching for some. What am I reaching for?
Mm.
Nobody really knows. I may not even know, but sorry. Okay, so this episode is sponsored by the Bariatric Foodie Guide to Perfect Protein Shakes, this is, Shannon, this is the original.
Yeah.
This is the one that started it all. This is
Hmm.
And this book, let me tell you about this book. It was born of very little known fact. I don't know. It's chime in if you've been around bariatric foodie that long. But before bariatric foodie, I had a business called Pouch Party, which is where I did food demonstrations in bariatric surgical practices. And I had this. Was making all these protein drinks. I was so into because when 10 years ago, if you didn't like chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, or cookies and cream, you were kind of out of luck with
Done.
protein shakes
Hmm.
because there weren't a great variety. And if there was a variety outside of that flavor profile, it cost a lot of money. So you had to
Hmm.
be sort of creative. So I'd get my protein shake, I'd get my milk, I'd get my Torani, I'd make it happen. I would carry this manual around to do these demonstrations because the protein shake demonstration was one of the most popular demonstrations that I would do in surgical practices. And so when I decided to switch over from Pouch Party to Bariatric Foodie, which I think happened probably about 6 or 7 years ago, I didn't know what I wanted to do with all of these protein shake recipes, but people would ask me like, where's this recipe or where's that recipe? And so this book
Yeah.
was born. And so I stand in defense of this book though, because a lot of people sometimes think, well, there's so many ready to drink. There's a Premier Protein. They've got the peaches and the cream and cookies and cream and all of these different
Hmm.
flavors. To me, I still love this book because it gives you ideas of what's possible and things that swap out for like things like your desserty items and specialty things where you're just not going to find that flavor in a protein powder. And then sometimes it just actually just tastes better when you make it yourself. So
Hmm.
this book, as all my books, gives you first a tutorial about protein shakes, how they work, the different components, how you can change them up, and how each component of a shake affects the overall caloric content, texture, things that you should and shouldn't change up in a protein shake, and then gives you a good set of starter recipes. So
Hmm.
this is not my picture on the front, by the way. Not my stock picture, but doesn't it look
Hmm.
lovely though? And then
Yes.
there is a picture of me looking kind of high on the back there. You see that picture right there? I look kind of high. So anyway, it Okay. So if you are interested in protein shakes, making your own protein shakes, turning those protein shakes into protein ice cream or protein popsicles, or, just learning about different flavors and how you can mix them together, and you don't already have this book, you can go to bariatricfoodie.com/shake book and check out this book. I will put the
Mhm.
link in the status message for after the show. But this is the one that
Yes.
started it all. This was a very first. I was so impressed with myself when this book came out. I was like, I made a
I
book.
did a book.
Oh. So anyway, yeah. So
Rightfully so.
yes. So anyway, what other announcements do we have? We have a
We got
bunch of
lots.
announcements today.
There's a lot on this list.
Hold up. I'm gonna try and run through them because we got stuff to get to. Okay, so
Yes.
so wait a minute. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. We are doing another step bet.
Yes.
Now, the last step bet just ended a couple weeks ago.
Hmm.
But my goal is to do one every 3 months. And so we're doing another one. It is going to be awesome. So let me tell you what's a little bit different about this step bet. Number one, it's our summer step bet. So since it's going to be summertime, see, we stepped through the cold weather. So now we're stepping through the hot weather. And so there's going to be a very strong emphasis on hydration. There's going to be water themed challenges with water themed prizes and all sorts of things. So we're going to have a lot of fun getting our hydration in very tasty and creative ways during this step bet. Um,
Yes.
maybe I should go back half a step and say what the heck a step bet is for
All
folks who don't
right.
know. Okay, so step bet, 6 week game. You bet $40 bet in quotes because it's not really betting, but you bet $40 on your ability to keep some walking goals throughout the 6 weeks. And if you keep your goals, get your bet back. The bet is $40. So you get your bet back. And let me put the ticker up there so you know the link. But if you make your goals all 6 weeks, you get your bet back. And unfortunately, if you don't make your goals all 6 weeks, you are disqualified, and the money that you paid into the bet goes into the pot and gets split between the people who win the game and basically make their goals all 6 weeks. And for the
Very
last,
motivating.
oh yes. I wasn't so much worried about winning more money. I was just wanted to get
Wanting
my
my
forty
money back.
dollars back.
Get
I
my
want my
money
forty
back.
forty dollars back.
Hmm.
Like y'all not getting my $40. I
Nope. Mm-mm.
so last
Nope.
time we had 197 players. I want to say how many people were at the end? It was like something like 150.
150.
Yeah,
It was like
100.
150 or like 148, something like that.
So we put in 40, and then I think we got like what 46.97 or something
Hmm.
like that back. So it
Very
was,
close to that.
look, it's better than an interest-bearing
Hmm.
savings account, and you get mega steps in the process. So we had a
Hmm.
lot of fun. There were people who were, goals achieved left, right, and center.
Hmm.
So it was just very motivating. So we're going to do it again, and the next game starts on June 18th. So if you would like to join us for this game, maybe you couldn't join for the last game. It was a little too cold. Maybe you weren't there yet. Maybe you were recovering from a surgery. Maybe you wanted to see how this whole thing goes for other people first. Um, you can go to step.bet/bariatric foodie. Again, I'm going to put that in the status message. And when you join, okay, first of all, a couple things about when you join. When you join, you will have access to the Step Bet community that I have formed on Facebook. This is a group full of people who have at some point been through a bariatric foodie Step Bet experience. So you have the benefit of people giving you tips on who have been there and done that and been through the challenge. Number two is that this is a game where I want you to get your family, your friends, everybody involved. You do not have to be bariatric to be in on this step bet. So I'm offering an incentive to the person who refers the most people into the game. And there's a little share link where you can share the link with people. And if people click through that link, the app knows that it's you that invited them. The person who invites the most people into the game on the day that the game is finally closed, that's it, finalized, wins a $100 Amazon gift card. So basically, you've already won your bet back plus 60 more bucks. So you
Snap.
need you need to get into. Diane said it was 148 people at the
Hmm.
end. Okay, duly noted. So you need to get in step with this bariatric foodie step bet. Okay,
Hmm.
moving right along. We got a couple more announcements. Big announcement next week. We can't say what it is, but it relates to stuff that's happening here on Facebook. If you already know, some people already know.
Hmm.
Don't give it away. do not, don't you do it. Don't do it. So there's a big announcement coming in early next week. So stay tuned to the page, stay tuned to your email, stay tuned to everything. Okay, last but not least, very excited because I was just talked to Laura Preston at Celebrate Vitamins, and the Celebrate Vitamins store has opened in Cleveland. Yay!
Yes. Yes. I mean,
You know,
I got a thing on, but
yeah.
it's there.
Congratulations to Celebrate. Now, let me just tell you that this place is top to bottom a space for post-ops. Let me tell you about it. You can walk in the door and somebody will get, well, first of all, Laura said the store is completely staffed by post-ops. So everybody who
Yes.
works in the store has had weight loss surgery, so they've been where you have been. You
Mhm.
walk in the door, you can get a complete rundown of your ASMBS recommendations for your vitamins. So you can learn vitamin by vitamin what the ASMBS recommends for your surgery type. You can try before you buy. They're doing like protein shake samples. They
Mhm.
are doing vitamin samples. Those are free samples, I believe. So yeah, I think they are free samples, but you can sample vitamins and see what you like and what you don't like. Let's see what else. She said they're open Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. They're gonna have other products there like Slim Pressions, Live Liga, who we love their bariatric set,
Yes.
Celebrate Gear, different books from different folks in the weight loss surgery world, Celebrate Swag, but then also you can come in. They have what's called an in-body scale, which is kind of like if you've ever heard of a Tanita scale, it's sort of the same concept where you can do a body composition test, and for those of you who don't know what a body composition test is, a body composition test is where it tells you how much of your body weight is water, how much is fat, how much is muscle, which really does help put things in perspective.
Mhm.
I am made up of more water than I ever imagined. But, but so, that comes complimentary with, they said with a qualifying purchase. So you have to figure out from them what's qualifying purchase. So if you are anywhere in the vicinity of Cleveland, go. Shannon and I are thinking about visiting there. So we're going to reach out to the Celebrate people and see if maybe we can
Yes.
do like a vlog and give you like a little tour of what happens there. We would love to
Mhm.
do that. I would drive. I was Googling before here. It's not actually that far for me.
Mm-mm.
It's not that far for Shannon, so we
Mm-mm.
may actually have to go slide in there. And this is right across from the Cleveland Clinic, so too. So it's very
Yeah.
centrally located. So that's that. We're very excited. I'm going to put the link because the Celebrate Vitamin Store has its own Facebook page. So I'm going to put that link in the status message. I swear I'm going to remember. This time I actually listed out all the links because I'm going to be throwing out a lot of, well, I'm going to put the link at the end of the blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm actually
Mhm.
going to do it. Okay. So moving on to the product Shannon is crushing on this week.
Oh, yes. All right. You ready?
I'm ready. Hit
All
me.
right. All right. So this is the product that I'm crushing on right now. You guys probably know this. This is
I've actually never tried hint water, so tell me
Hint
about hint.
water. So this is an unsweetened infused water, and they have a lot of different flavors. This one happens to be watermelon, but I have enjoyed most of them. My favorite one, they don't make it anymore that I can tell because I have looked for it. But they used to have one that was a honeydew and hibiscus, and like if somehow this ends up in
So there
the
was like
hand.
flour
Yeah,
in.
yeah, it was flower infused, florally and honeydew melon. It was delicious. So if this somehow ends up in front of the eyes of the hint people, we could get the honeydew and hibiscus back. That'd be great. But this is literally no juice, no sweeteners, but it is like, and I don't know how it happens because I just don't know. It's got a slightly sweet taste.
Like maybe naturally sweet.
Yeah, like I think
Like the
so.
natural sugars in
Yeah,
there.
something because it's got a very slightly sweet taste, and the flavors are really true to the fruits. They have one, I mean, and they have one that's like cucumber and all of that stuff.
Oh,
So,
by the way, guys, reactions, likes and hearts if you
yes.
tried it and you like it. But
Yeah,
is
tell
it
us how
0 calories?
it is 0 calories, 0, 0, 0 all the way. Whole 30 approved. I can't read everything because I, of course, I'm a bargain hunter,
Yeah,
so I
no, yeah. Well, where'd you get it and how much did it cost?
Okay, so I get mine at Kroger. Um and it's normally like $1.69. I got mine because it was like getting, I don't know why it was on discount, but it's like 89 cents on there. So you can find them. They're really, really delicious. I love these.
Mm.
Um, I really do enjoy these quite a bit.
So we'll the one link I don't have, but Shannon
Right.
will remind me to put is that I'll see if they have like a store locator so you can find
hmm
where they
I know,
are.
and it's been a minute since I looked them up, but I think you can actually, I think they do sell, like you can go to Hint and order them,
Like a case.
like by
There might
case.
be
Yeah,
something they're cheaper that they can go.
right,
Okay.
right. Or if you want to try multiple flavors, because my Kroger has a few different flavors. Um,
Mm-hmm.
in like the organic and health food section,
Yeah.
that's where they'll be found.
Hmm. All right, so we got to get to
Delicious.
today's topic.
All
Today's
right.
topic is, are you guys ready? Nobody, we have no react. Come on, guys, we need reactions. If you like what we're
Please.
saying,
Are
just
you
like
all
likes in the heart.
sleeping?
Are you there? It lets us know that you're there, but it also tells Facebook that you like what's going on, so it don't put it on more people's timelines. We got to sometimes do the little shady ways of, doing
Mm-hmm.
the traffic. Okay, so anyway,
Mm-hmm.
today's topic is failure. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was really important to do this topic today because people think of failure in many different ways. And so it's good to put these sort of things in perspective. So
Mm-hmm.
let's start off. Why don't we start off with Shannon, you want to take
Sure.
what is failure?
Okay. So failure as defined by, your textbook definition is a lack of success or the omission of expected or required action.
That sounds very
That's
textbooky.
that's very textbook. Why don't we like talk a little bit about that? So the first part of that definition is really vague. So we're going to take a look at the second part of that. And that is the omission of expected or required action. That means that failure is based on an outcome that you expect to get or that's required. An
Okay.
outcome that you expect or is required.
Okay. So we got a good
That's going to be
textbooky
important.
definition. Okay,
It's going to be
so
important.
we're
Write it
gonna
down.
talk. So we're going
Take
to
some.
talk about, just like write it down. So we're going to talk about a couple of different kinds of failure. So the first kind of failure, I thought it was kind of important for us to first talk about what we might call surgical failure. And
Right.
when I say surgical failure, what it means if your surgery fails, because people are constantly freaking out about, has my surgery failed? Has my surgery failed? Has my surgery failed? So I did a little
Mm-hmm.
research on this, and what I have found just in general in my years of being a weight loss surgery blogger is that people's expectations of what weight loss surgery do and the statistics don't exactly match up. So it's a good idea to first lay out what is considered weight loss surgery, quote unquote, success from a statistical standpoint, and
Mm-hmm.
then, what constitutes failure. And when I'm telling you these numbers, these are numbers that are sort of aggregated from a bunch of different studies that have been reviewed and all those good things. I will cite my source on the status message after this, but I don't want you to get discouraged by the numbers. I'm going to try and put them in perspective for you, but I don't, because that some of y'all are going to go into like failure mindset when you hear some of these
Yeah.
numbers. I want you to resist the urge to do that. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about surgical failure. So, for each surgery, there is an expected amount of weight loss, usually based on the total amount of excess body weight a person starts off with. And we talk about that on the bariatric foodie page a lot,
Mm-hmm.
the amount of excess body weight. Excess body weight means the amount that you are overweight, the amount of weight that you carry around that is over and above your ideal body weight, not the ideal body weight, your ideal body weight. So here are some numbers that I found for expected weight loss rates for various surgeries. Now, keep in mind these statistics are after two years after surgery. So it's not like right after surgery. These are 2 years after surgery, and they are averages. So some people are going to be above this number, some people are going to be below this number, but this is the average, okay? Remember what I said about resisting jumping to, a certain mindset here. So the numbers that I found, and I searched a bunch of different places and a bunch of different, because there's a bunch of different studies, but they all seem to
Mm-hmm.
hover around a specific number as an average. So for gastric bypass, the percentage of excess body weight lost after 2 years. And it may have been higher at some point before the 2 year mark, but at the 2 year mark, it was 65% of your excess body weight lost. And I can say for me, this is true to form. That is about where I am at 10 years post-op. For biliopancreatic diversion, dear Lord, why do I never say that right? Biliopancreatic diversion, BPD, which is the second half. I believe it's the second half of the DS. It's like there's the sleeve and then the BPD and the other. No, that's not right. Anyway, I'm not even going to try and talk anatomy because I will screw it up every single time.
Every day, every
The,
time.
the BPD has a 2 year average of 73% excess weight lost. The sleeve would be now the sleeve. I looked a couple of different places, and and I think this number, because this number is going to be like, oh, but I think probably because the sleeve as a standalone surgery is like sort of a new thing, and this is like within the past 4 or 5 years. There's not
Yeah.
like long term data on this, but the number that I found hovered around 56% excess weight loss. So I think that number will change as there's more longitudinal studies? Who knows? But I will say that's the main number I found. And then the gastric band, the adjustable gastric band, was about 49% after 2 years. Keep in mind that's an average. Again, like I said, I'm gonna keep driving that home to you, meaning some folks lose a greater percentage of their excess body weight and some folks lose a smaller percentage of the excess body weight. What I want you to take from that is not, oh my God, I'm only going to lose 56% of my body weight because I'm the sleeve. What I want you to take from that is if you're 3, 4, 5 years out and you are maintaining at 75% of your excess body weight lost, is as opposed to feeling like a failure because you're not at 100 or 115% or 100 and 25% or whatever, some of these crazy numbers that people throw out there. Try being really, really happy that you are maintaining over and above the average for your surgery type. And again, this is something that you're going to want to talk to your doctor about because like I said, this is from me doing research. There may be more current research, but talk to your doctor about these rates that are on the internet and see, which one they have in terms of your surgery. But like I said, it's an average. It should not be taken as a self-fulfilling prophecy of any type. You should just, keep it all in perspective. Now,
Exactly.
surgery in medical terms is considered a failure under two main conditions that I found. One is that patients experience extreme side effects, and we're talking about debilitating side effects. Oh, wait a minute. I see that Jenny, I'm looking at my phone. I see that Jenny asked, how do you determine your percentage of excess body weight loss? Shannon, would you mind jotting down so I can, that I can do the link? We have a little calculation that you can use and even a little worksheet you can download to remind yourself to do this. And we will post that in the status message of after the show. So anyway, getting back to what I was saying. So if patients experience extreme side effects, that are debilitating to their life or keep them from living their lives, their surgery can be considered a failure. And then their surgeries obviously can be considered a failure if they are unable to lose weight as a result of
Mm-hmm.
the surgery. Now, it's important to keep in mind with all this information that surgery, this is with respect to surgery as an intervention for the treatment of obesity. Obesity is a disease. We will ram that into your head as many times as we need to. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that some people perceive the word disease in different ways, but one of the things that classifying obesity as a disease allows us to do is recognize that there may not just be one treatment for
Mm-hmm.
obesity. So the result of failure can, and probably rightfully should be, applications of other interventions for obesity. So this can take various forms. It can include weight loss medications, behavior modification, additional surgery. I was at an event in DC at the National Institutes of Health, which, by the way, I didn't know that they YouTubed my talk, my little testimony there, or whatever that I
No.
experienced. I'm
Yeah.
going to post that one day. I sounded very
Yes.
intelligent, Shannon. I was
Yes.
pretty intelligent.
You need
So,
you need to share it. Share it.
but anyway, but there was this one clinic that had all of that, and they told patients from the get-go that it's probably going to take several different interventions
Mm-hmm.
to get you to where we need you to be. So they started off with that expectation that in addition to surgery, you may need medicine, you may need behavior modification, you may need exercise therapy, you may need all of these different things, and we're throwing everything we've got at weight loss surgery. Weight loss surgery alone should not be considered the miracle cure. It is a tool that can work with other tools to help manage your obesity. I loved that. I wanted to give that man the slow clap, but it was like one of those really formal type things. I wasn't trying to like be that person, like get upset, be like, Hercules, Hercules, Hercules. So, but that's what I was feeling like. I was like, yes,
Mm-hmm. On the
we
inside.
need more places. Like they had like 20 some staff in their bariatric department,
That's
20
awesome.
some like
That's amazing.
doctors, surgeons, dietitians, like doctors as in bariatricians,
Mm-hmm.
surgeons, dietitians, the exercise physiologists, bariatric pharmacologists. I mean, there was every kind of ologist you could think of. It was beautiful. Anyway, so the bottom line I want to make here is that because there are some expectations of how much weight folks can lose as a result of various surgeries, there is such a thing as weight loss surgery failure. However, those failures can and do happen independently of any perceived personal failures. Translation there is that, there are some times where you can do everything that you were told to do, and there is still a risk that your surgery might fail. That is a risk that we take with any medical treatment for anything that we do,
Exactly.
that intervention may not work, or it may not work sufficiently for us. So that should not be perceived as a result of anything necessarily that you did or didn't do. Sometimes surgeries alone are not enough to cut it to manage the disease of obesity, is the bottom line that I want to make. Okay, so that's surgical failure and everything that I have to say about that now. And so let's talk about.
All right. I am not putting on my life coach cap. I'm not.
You would be a great life coach, though, Shannon.
Because this is tricky. Personal failure is really tricky to measure. Because if you think about it, there's so many factors that go into whether we perceive ourselves as a failure, and we may not be failing, but our minds tell us that we are. So it can be really, really, really tricky to decide whether or not we are personally failing at something. But we do have some things that you should probably keep in mind, right?
Oh, okay. So the first thing we want to keep in mind, I did not, maybe I should have made subtitles out of this. I'm always like on the fence. Too many subtitles, not enough. I don't know.
Right.
But the first thing,
we're doing well.
We're tracking on time, girl. So the first thing we want you to keep in mind is that failure is a noun, not a verb. To fail is a verb, but failure is a noun, not a verb. And the reason why I point that out is that failure is a thing that happens. It happens obviously as a result of not having your expected or required outcome. It is not a state of being. Once you fail, you are not forever a failure. You do not have to live in that moment. It is a thing that happened, and how you move forward from that thing that that happens will largely determine what happens next. You can decide to move forward from that failure, learn from it, and use it positively and apply it to
Right.
your life, or you could choose to move forward and put yourself right back into the cycle of failure. But failure is a thing that happens. It's not a state of being. If you have a failure, you are not a failure, is basically
Exactly.
what I'm
Exactly.
saying. Okay.
Right. And so on along with that is if you don't even know what the expectation or the result is, you can't say for sure if you're failing. So this is the part where you got to go back to your bariatric surgeon, your nutritionists, your counselor, if you're seeing someone for that, and ask them what is the expectation here? Like, give me the goal, like give me the goal, and so that you can figure out what the big picture is, and not just what you think
Mhm.
it should be, right?
Yeah, because it's like one of the because sometimes you just don't know the result, and sometimes
Right.
people have surgeons or whatever who won't give them an exact number for this exact
Uh,
reason. I think surgeons don't realize how bananas that
it's
drives.
frustrating.
It
Mine
is.
did not.
But keep in mind that your surgeon and your nurse practitioner and all of those people, they see, like Shannon said, the big picture. They see a lot of patients. They know what the averages are. They
Mm-hmm.
know, if your surgeon is not, worried about your progress, we tend to be like 10 times more worried about our progress than our surgeon. And maybe we're going along normally, but we're not going Speedy Gonzalez normal that we want to go to. So
Yep.
talk it over with them. Let them know that it would be good to have like some sort of mile marker, whether it's your percentage of excess body weight loss, whether you're looking, a certain BMI that you think that the milestone should have hit. What is your expected or intended result? And don't just think of that in terms of numbers of like BMI, body weight, all of
Mm-hmm.
that good stuff. It can also be in terms of what you're able to do and lifestyle changes and things like if you want to, graduate from walking to running or, all of those
Right.
different things. So no.
Comorbidities would be a huge
Mm,
indicator of the results that you're getting.
yeah.
If you're no longer diabetic or pre-diabetic or having, as much problem with your blood pressure, those are all things that
Yeah,
should be
your
taken in.
PCOS comes under
Mm.
control, or
Right.
you're in better shape to, you set some
Right.
markers for where you'll be in better shape to be able to get pregnant. These are all things that you can use as mile markers in addition to, the scale and measurements.
Right.
So, but last but not least, we want to point out that failure itself is a result of an effort. It is not the end all be all. And when we are truly on top of our games, examining what we failed at, how we failed at it, and by how much we failed can actually teach us a lot about how to not fail the next time.
Mhm.
Um, Also, you have to acknowledge that because failure is the result of an effort, you should give yourself some credit for the fact that you did make an effort. You did something. You can't fail from doing nothing. A lot of people equate doing nothing with failing. You have to do something in order to fail at it.
Mhm.
So if you had something that was a fail where it didn't work out, where it's like, I don't know, um, there is a teachable moment in there.
Mhm.
Um, and you did something, you tried something, it maybe didn't work out the way you expected it to. However, if you look back, if you reflect back, and I feel like I'm always saying this, and people are always like rolling that, yes, yes, I know, reflect. And,
Mhm.
but it really is important to look at where things went south, what you did right in the situation,
Right.
what was hard about the situation. All of these different things matter in helping you make a stronger go at it the next time. You got to give yourself
Exactly.
credit, like I said, for the effort and be honest with yourself about what needs to change with your efforts moving
Mhm.
forward.
Mhm.
So, the next thing we're going to talk about is my favorite thing to talk about:
Yes.
the failure mindset.
Yeah.
Preach it! Okay, I'm going to start preaching here, y'all.
Okay.
I'm going to start preaching here, y'all. Let me, you know,
Get ready. We're getting ready.
You, you, can I
Ba-bum-bum.
just do an interjection that
Ba-bum.
I'm so proud of one thing, okay? Can I
Okay.
just tell you that, like, as a result of my mastectomy, I had limited range of motion in my right
Yes.
arm, and so, like, for a long time, this is my left arm, obviously, so I can do like this. I could not do like that with my right arm, and I
Mhm.
still can't do like, like that with my
Mm-hmm.
right arm, but I can do like this.
Yay!
And
Yes,
but
that's
when I first
good.
had surgery, it was like here, and
Uh-huh.
now it's yeah. So I'm working my way back up
That's
to the ear.
good.
I'm working my way back up to the ear. Can I get some likes
Yes.
and some
Yes.
hearts that I am moving up to my ear? Cancer did not take away my ability to put my bat wing on my ear. Bam. Anyway,
Right.
sorry.
That's great.
That
That's
was a
great
moment.
improvement,
That was
though.
a moment for me. We lost like five
Yeah,
viewers on
it's
that
all
one.
right. It's
Okay.
okay.
For those of you who were there, you felt it. I know you felt it. Anyway,
Exactly.
we try to keep the show fun, guys.
Right?
Okay? Even though serious subject matter, we try to keep the show fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, failure mindset. There are volumes of books on this subject, but one that I read that was really good was called, and I'm going to put the link in the status message. It's called Confidence: How Winning Streaks and Losing Streaks Begin and End. It is by an author named Rosabeth Moss Cantor. And what I love about this book is that she gives you tons of examples of one really simple principle. When you believe you are winning, your behavior begins to change in such a way that makes it more likely that you'll keep winning. And when you
Yep.
believe that you are losing, you will begin to behave in a way that will shape your situation in a way that makes it harder to win.
All
So,
the yes. Every yes.
okay, all right,
All of
I'm not quite into my sermon yet, Shannon. I'm getting there,
it.
girl. So
I'm
one
already
way,
ready to
like, can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? So, one way I see this play out a lot is through what you might call self-fulfilling prophecies. And I see this so much in the weight
go.
loss
Mm-hmm.
surgery community that's not even funny. By self-fulfilling prophecy, that's a hard thing to say, self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean that you go into an effort either proclaiming that you will fail or expressing extreme doubt that you can succeed. I'm going to say that again. By self-fulfilling prophecy, I mean that you go into an effort either proclaiming that you will fail or expressing extreme doubt that you can succeed. I think people do that for a couple of different reasons. One, sometimes people think it's cute. It's not cute. So I'm
Mm-mm.
sorry. I'm like one of those people, and anybody who's ever like, private messaged me or emailed me about a problem, you can probably ascertain this about me. But yeah, I I am a person who believes in self-empowerment, self-reliance.
Mm-hmm.
It's not cute to me when you put yourself down. It's not. It's
Mm-mm.
not like I'm a failure. I never do anything right. I mean, it gets on my nerves because you're being mean to you. Not you get on my nerves, but it gets on my nerves because you're being mean to you and you don't deserve anybody to be mean to you, including yourself. So, yeah. First of all, people think it's cute. Second of all, I think we all perceive that there's going to be somebody who comes along and bursts our bubble. Like,
Yep.
nope, you're not going to do that. In reality, decorum usually dictates that people, even if they think that, aren't actually going to do that, unless you have like one really like that really shady like family member who will do that. But in that case, you just cut them out of your life and just
Mm-hmm.
keep on stepping. So,
Mm-hmm.
so people have a tendency to do that, sort of put their failure out on the forefront. And I think the expectation there is that you're going to proclaim that you were supposed to fail, you're likely to fail, you're set up to fail, you never win, and then you do win, and then you have like you're like the comeback story, the underdog. So that's not cute either. Okay. Believe in yourself, people. Believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so the couple of things I wanted to say about that was, first of all, going into any effort with that mindset is a motivation buzzkill. Like, do you want to really like think about situations, like a situation or whatever goal you're working on now? If you went into it like, oh God, that's not going to happen. Oh my God, I've never done that before, so I'm just totally going to bomb at that. What motivation do you have to get up every day and do the
And
hard
do
work
it.
you need to do
Mm-hmm.
in order to make that goal happen? It is a motivational buzzkill.
Mm-hmm.
But more than that, if our mindset causes us to behave in ways that match it, if you go into something believing that you will fail, then you will begin consciously or subconsciously to behave in ways that will make that outcome more likely. So, have you ever noticed, like, if you are on a streak of like let's call like losing actually successfully losing pounds on the scale a win, like
Mm-hmm.
you're doing your thing, the pounds are coming off on the scale, what do? You eat better and you exercise more and you drink your water and you take your vitamins and because you're confident, you're I'm
Yep.
winning right now. I feel like I'm winning right now. I'm going to do the things that are necessary to sustain and protect that win. Versus, if you hit a stall, you're going into it, oh my God, I never lose weight. I've tried so many times. Why am I even trying?
Right.
Like, why am I even paying attention? Why am I logging my food? Why am I taking these vitamins every day? What's the point?
Mhm.
And sometimes it's not as blatant as that, but sometimes it is where you go into a situation and you begin to think negatively. And so now instead
I hear a lot of that, like going into like the cold weather months where you're like, oh, we're getting ready to have like Thanksgiving and Halloween, and there's always this, like you just start automatically
I know I'm
saying,
going to eat all the
I know
candy.
I'm gonna do that. Yep,
I
they
know
just
I'm going to
start
gain this
just
5 pounds.
because it always happens, or
You know,
right.
yeah. Or the with the exercise thing. It's like I
Mm-hmm.
can't exercise during the winter. It is too cold out here. It is like,
Mm-hmm.
instead of going into it like I'm going to maintain a fitness plan throughout the winter, it's just a matter of how.
How?
So you see
Mm-hmm.
how those two different mindsets are working differently. So yeah, you begin to, if you go into something with a winning mindset, you're going to be defending your win, which is a lot more empowering than trying to recover and scramble from what you perceive as a loss. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, what I'm trying to say to you is that it isn't the world, it isn't your haters, it isn't even Murphy's Law that usually stands between you and your goals. Most of the time, it's your mindset. And so,
Mm-hmm.
if you get your mindset straight, if you go into something believing that you are capable of doing it, and if you honestly and truly do not think you are capable of doing the thing that you are setting the goal to do, then your goal is the wrong goal. You need to
Yep.
right size that goal. So, if you're going from the couch and, you want to do like a marathon in 4 weeks and you're, oh God, I know I'm going to fail, but I really want to do it. No, that's not the right goal. Maybe
That's
you
not
need to
the
start
right
out with a
goal.
5K. you know,
Mm-hmm.
maybe that, so if you really and truly in the deepness of your core believe that you cannot do something that you are setting out to do and you're doing it anyway, you need to ask yourself why you have that goal in the first place.
First place.
Because any goal that you make should be something that you can reasonably do. That doesn't mean it's not challenging, but something that you can reasonably do. Okay.
Exactly.
All
Mm-hmm.
right. So we're going to get to my second favorite part of this, which is
Tips. Tips.
tips.
Yes.
So what
All right.
tips do you have for Shannon's going to give us some tips.
So we got some tips here for you. The first one is to get your expectations straight. So in regards of your surgery, knowledge is power. So you need to know the success rate in terms of excess body weight lost. You need to talk about um, what is the failure rate for your specific surgery. Your doctor would be able to give you a good indication of that. As far as he sees it. And having that information will help you get your expectations in line. So you'll see a bunch of people out here that are just exceeding those numbers, and that's okay because you might too. But but think about it if instead of wait, I'm doing that wrong. So think of it as the outcome as icing on the cake. So anything over is icing on the cake instead of, oh, I just made it, right?
Yeah, yeah. So if you lost, your weight or whatever, and if you lost 100% of your body weight, and people, whew, I had to do that, 100%. Okay, I'm
Mm-hmm.
there. Also celebrate the fact that you are above average. You are a little bit
Mm-hmm.
exceptional there. So yeah, be happy,
Right.
celebrate your achievements.
Right.
Okay, so what else you got
Okay.
for
So
us?
the next tip is to know what you want. Keeping in mind that failure relates to an expected or required result. Know what you want to achieve. Whether you're going into surgery or you're a few years out, what is it that you want as the result for your surgery? Do you
Mhm.
want to be more active? Do you want to improve a health condition? Do you want to look like Beyonce? Oh,
That
wait.
was just me. Come
That
on.
was just you?
It was just
Just
me. Okay.
maybe.
Like the
I
first
doubt it.
5
I'm sure
years
that.
after surgery. And then she was like, oh, all the single ladies. And it was
Uh-huh.
just like I was having that moment.
Right.
I was
But
like a
make
size 6 and I was having that moment,
she
Shannon.
was, right. But make sure that your goals are meaningful so you don't consider yourself a failure for a goal you were never trying to achieve.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute. You got the girl. You got to say that again, girl.
Okay, so make sure your goals are meaningful so you don't consider yourself a failure for a goal you were never trying to achieve.
That is so important because like I see that more than you guys know. And then sometimes
Hmm.
I point it out to you guys when you message us, and sometimes I don't. But sometimes you guys are going for goals that you're upset because you didn't achieve something that you never set out to do.
No,
You never set
right.
out to be like
Why though?
when you went into the surgery, maybe you wanted to resolve your health conditions and
Hmm.
get to a healthy BMI. And now all of a sudden you want to be like, I don't know, like Giselle Bundchen or something like that. And that was not what you set out to do.
No,
And you're not recognizing that you are a tremendous success in what you set out to do. And you're
right.
thinking about all of the things that you're not instead of all of the things that you
That you
are.
are. Exactly. All right. So,
Beyonce.
right.
So
Okay. I'll do that
anyway.
again. All right. So the next tip, the last tip that we've got is to train yourself to think of failure as valuable information.
Yeah, I think I
Because
wrote this a different little bit differently. I said see the teachable moment, but same
yeah,
difference.
yes. Train yourself to think of failure as valuable information because it is. When you don't succeed at something, if you look back, if you take a look at it and you really think about why you didn't succeed, there's probably some clues there as to why you didn't. Was
Mhm.
your goal too lofty? Did you not give yourself enough time? Did something happen that was beyond your control to get you, to succeed? Was there extenuating circumstances and you couldn't make it to your goal, or you couldn't succeed? But not only that, as you continue on, as you move forward, you should ask yourself how you can make a goal that is the right size for you. How much time do you really realistically need to achieve that goal? Here's a hint: arbitrary goals like I need to be X weight by X date are tricky. For some folks, they're motivating, but if you're basing that info off of what other people do, it's a losing proposition.
Yeah,
Your
it's like what Tracy just said. Don't compare yourself to other
right.
people.
Your your goals should be formed and based on what you know about you.
Yes. So if you know that you have certain, injuries, certain conditions that may slow down your mobility, you don't want to be like comparing yourself to the person who is maybe, 2021 getting weight loss surgery and, is like, their body hasn't been through as much with obesity. Of course, they're going to be a little more mobile than you. Their trajectory is going to go differently than you. Base
Mhm.
your goals on what you are supposed to be doing for you and also always in consultation with your team. And that's why I feel like a lot of people sort of shy away from their bariatric team because the bariatric team does really try to keep you grounded in not
Mhm.
only a realistic expectation from the high level view that they have, but then also your realistic expectation of you, of
Right.
what you have going on with you. And we don't want to hear that. We want to hear that, we're going to lose like 100 pounds in 5 or 6 months and da 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 da. That might not be the right trajectory for you.
Right.
So, yeah, just keep things in perspective
Mhm.
and see the teachable moment because sometimes when you quote unquote fail, it's because, your goal wasn't the right size in the first place. But sometimes when you quote unquote fail, it is because you had an expectation that was out of line with what your reality is.
Mhm.
So, now I see a lot of folks, like I know that there's some folks on here. I want to address one more thing before we start
Mhm.
to wrap up of like that whole feeling like a failure because of external parameters, da 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 da. It is a hard thing to do. Now, when I tell people this, they roll their eyes at me, but feelings are a choice. And here's the thing about feelings being a choice. They are developed based on the story that we tell ourselves. I always
Mhm.
say what I say, Shannon, the story you tell yourself is important. Insofar
Mhm.
as you have created a narrative for yourself based on what the world has told you, you're too big, you're too fat, You take up too much space. Buy the extra airplane space. Why don't you just eat less? Why don't you just move more? You're
Yep.
lazy. Da 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 da. All of these
Mhm.
things, the culture of society, along with your own environment and your own self-image, have gone into the story you've been telling yourself up to this point. So
Mhm.
it to counteract that, you're going to have to tell yourself the better story. You're going to have to tell yourself that you are wonderful the way you are, and that anything that you are doing to make yourself healthier or stronger is improving on something that is already good. Telling yourself that you are able, telling yourself that you are capable, telling yourself that this is a process, telling yourself that you are human, telling yourself that you are worthy of dignity and respect from
Mhm.
everybody who you come in contact with. You're going to have to tell yourself that story over and over and over again until you begin to believe it. And eventually, if you consistently tell yourself this story over and over again, you will in fact begin to believe it. But when I tell people that those feelings are a choice, they think that what I mean is that they can flip a switch and not feel that way anymore. No, what
No.
I'm saying is whatever you need to do, counteract the negative narrative with a positive narrative. If I feel like oh, wait a minute, it's, oh, my phone had said broadcast interrupted for a minute. That was really scary. Oh my God. So, so,
It did.
and
Mm.
you have to manually do that, guys. It's not
Right.
something that's going to come naturally it's not
No.
something that's going to come naturally to you
Mm-mm.
to counteract your bad narrative with your good narrative, but it's worth it. It's a worth it endeavor. So
Mhm.
surround yourself with those positive imagery, um
Mhm.
um um that positive juju, whatever you want to call it, the good vibes that you need to tell yourself that narrative that you are worthy and that you are working toward a better you, and that you are learning self-love and you're learning confidence and you're learning to do all of the things that you want to do, and that you're building the life that you want to have, and that's the work in progress that you are doing. So
Mhm.
that's sort of my response to that. And I don't want to seem flippant about it, but honestly, that really is the only thing that has ever worked for me, is to counteract that negative narrative
Right.
with a more positive narrative. And I have been blessed enough to have mentors and people in my life who will put me in my place when I decide to get all down on myself, because it's totally not productive.
Mm-mm.
I understand the fear of failure. I understand that, like, going into surgery, you may think, what if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't happen this time? Again, obesity is a disease. It may take more than one intervention to control that disease.
Mhm.
If you It takes more than one intervention to control that disease, that does not make you a failure. That means that obesity is a disease. Okay. Let me look at
Mhm.
these comments, because Tracy
Yeah.
said she said something twice, and we had an influx of comments that came in
Yes.
uh, all of a sudden, where we weren't seeing
Right.
comments. But Tracy said a failure moment could be considered a recalculating moment for your weight loss goals. You now know what won't work for you. Take time to recalculate your goals. Yeah, that's basically, yeah, in line with
Mhm.
what we're saying is basically it's a teachable moment. What is it? Was your goal the right size? Did you give yourself enough time to achieve it? Was your expectation in the right place in
Right.
the first place?
Mhm.
Um, and so, oh, the video interruption oh, that's Zuck. That ain't us. Zuck, we love you. Because Facebook is listening to it. Do we love you,
Mm.
Zuck? We have nothing bad to say about you, Zuck.
No.
Anyway, so so anyway, so that's where we're kind of going to wrap it up. This is a continuing conversation, so continue the conversation in the comments within yourselves. Here on Bariatric Foodie, we always work our daily discussions into things, and we will work some discussions in about that. Let me just make sure that. Oh, wait a minute! I do want to address Kathy's comment. I'm going to show it. It says, "My
Mhm.
worst fear is to fail at this journey. I constantly stepped on the scale until I make myself crazy. 1 month ago, I started therapy. My husband has put the scale away, and I'm focusing on living a healthy life. 3 years out, I want to motivate others, and I will." That is a great thing, because of the fact that a couple things there. Number one is the scale is not the only narrator of your story. Your clothes are
Yep.
not the only narrator of your story. And if you start to focus on some of the other narrators of your story, you will begin to de-emphasize the importance of the scale in your life. Not that the scale is ever going to be entirely unimportant. Body weight does matter. However, it is not the end all, it is not the be all, and it is not the defining factor of whether or not you ultimately are successful. So, if you're focusing on other things, like you said, living your life, traveling, running after your kids, running after your grandkids, being around for your grandkids if you want to have a
Mm-hmm.
baby, getting pregnant, all of these different things that, all of these beautiful moments in life that you are equipping yourself to handle better now that you are healthier. Those things should have at least equal, if not greater weight than what the scale says, because
Right.
we know that within a certain period of weight loss surgery, if you exercise and you eat well and you take your vitamins, you're going to steadily lose some weight. How much varies from person to person, but you're going to steadily lose some weight, and that you're probably going to have to work with your doctors for the remainder of your life to manage that obesity. So, what else is there? You have a whole other realm of your life that you have to live, and what's important there. So focusing there can a lot of times help you to de-emphasize the scale, because the scale 2 or 3 times a day. First of all, my thing about the scale 2 or 3 times a day, Shannon, is that we progressively weigh more throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I never did get that whole weighing
Nope.
throughout the day thing, because you're taking in mass has weight. So you eat food, that
Yep.
adds weight. You drink water, that adds weight. You retain fluids from exercise, that has
Mm-hmm.
weight. So stop doing the whole weighing 57 times a day. You're supposed to weigh more as the day progresses. You absolutely weigh your less. The least amount that you're going to weigh, you weigh after you get out of bed and you pee. Weigh yourself and keep it moving. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
even a big advocate of weighing yourself every day, but whatever. Folks have their
Right.
they have their preferences. Anyway,
Right.
so we are wrapping up, guys. So I just wanted to sort of remind you guys that if you love the show, you can
You
subscribe to
know you
show
do.
updates. You know you want to subscribe to
You
show
know you
updates,
do.
because you know you don't want to forget Bariatric Foodie Live. And here's what you get when you get the show updates is you get to know about a half hour before the show comes on what the show is going to be about. So it's 7:30. You're in between two things you could do. You could watch Bariatric Foodie Live, or you could, I don't know what you would rather do besides watching
Really, what
Bariatric
is
Foodie
there?
Live. Like, really, really,
How could you
really.
not want to see us?
I mean, there is Shondaland, but whatever. So, but if you're deciding between two things, you can say, okay, well, this is what Bariatric Foodie Live is about tonight, and I really want to make sure I'm there live so I can ask my question and get the other foodies' opinions on these things.
Mhm.
Or it could be, oh, that's not that important to me. I can watch the replay, because guess what? Inside the email, there's a link that's going to take you here live if you come here at 8 o'clock, anytime between 8 and 9, because let's keep it real, the show is pretty much always going to be at least an hour. Um, and or if you click it after the fact, it's going to take you directly to the replay so you can watch the replay. So sign up to the show updates at bariatricfoodie.com/live. I will put that link. Where will I put it, Shannon?
In the status message.
Yay!
She thinks
Okay.
of everything. Nick thinks of
I'm
everything.
not everything, but
Don't
anyway,
lie.
anyway, so I've been getting into are you ready for next week's topic? Shannon actually doesn't even know
I
next week's
don't
topic
know.
until I say it, but
Right?
next week we have a very good topic, Shannon. This is one that I feel like people are going to connect to, and you're
Okay.
going to want to tune in for.
I can't
Next
wait.
topic is recovering from screw ups, so that you not only stop screwing up, but that you bounce back better.
Yes.
We're going to go through what happens immediately, like not even like, I'm not talking about the days and weeks and months. In that moment, I ate that whole big A piece of chocolate cake, or I ate the whole bag of Doritos, or I,
Mm-hmm.
did whatever. In that moment, what you're going to do in that moment and moving forward, so that you not only stop screwing up, but that you bounce back better. That's what we're going to talk
Right.
about next week.
Yes.
Yes, I'm ready for it.
Yes.
But remember, early next week, we have a big announcement coming.
Yes.
Remember that we are doing the step bet. I would love to have you guys. You can do it. You may not think you can do it, but you can do this step bet. Well, some people actually do have limitations. So let me just say that.
Right.
I ain't
Yes.
mad at you if you can't join, you have these limitations. But if you're sitting there joining because you have that failure mindset, I want you to join this step bet. So I will put
Hmm.
all of the information for all of that good stuff in the status message. But until next week, bye,
Bye.
guys.